Hello everyone, welcome to the new episode of The Haunted Show. We have Neil De Silva sir with us. And sir, you travel so much. You travel in different remote areas as well. So uh, there might be some uh, like energies or prates maybe or atmas which we call. So are there any specific stories or things about these energies or these demons? Demons, I'm not sure if that's the right word to call them, but those kind of energies.
Yes, evidently. The thing is, India is a gold mine of such horror, folklore, and legend. Everywhere you go, there is a story. There is a local um, creature or demon, we can use that word in some contexts, or some ghost or spirit or something like that of the sort everywhere. I think we all have grown up on these horror stories. We have heard of them in our childhood. They are there in our books, and some of them have taken such a strong local flavor that they have become part of the culture. So when I travel basically to write my books. That's the biggest drive for me. So I choose areas where I can understand a little bit more of the culture. Of course, the internet gives you a lot of information,
Correct.
but if you want to get the actual flavor of a place, then you have to go there and visit the geography of it.
Correct, yeah.
So yes, I will share with you a few of these stories that I have heard of
Like
the.
some of those stories which you haven't mentioned in your books.
Yeah. Okay.
Some of those
So
energies which we are not very aware of.
okay, so you're asking me to spoil my future books, but okay, that's
No,
Uh,
not like that. Something like which you can.
no
Which,
worries. I will talk to you about these legends which are little known, but even then, within those local areas, they are quite profound. So let me start with. I read about this very interesting kind of spirit entity
hmm,
in the Konkan area, the Malwan area of Maharashtra. So there is this one spirit
spirit.
known as the Bayangi spirit.
Bayangi.
It's a ghost, yeah.
Hmm.
So what actually happens is uh, there is a particular puja to be done
Hmm.
by which you can appease this Bayangi ghost. So if a family, a patriarch of a family, does this puja and that is done through a tantric,
Hmm.
then the Bayangi ghost comes during the puja. The tantric then traps the Bayangi ghost inside a coconut,
Hmm.
and the coconut is given to this
Family.
patriarch.
Huh.
Only patriarch, not the whole family.
Acha, okay.
Now, this patriarch means the male head of the family takes the coconut and he has to keep it in a nice sacred place, holy place.
Hmm.
It could be anything, it could be his garden, it could be, but the place has to be kept always pure, clean, and he has to keep the Bayangi spirit in it.
Hmm.
What is the purpose of this? The purpose is the Bayangi spirit makes the family rich, makes the family extremely prosperous. So, as long as the Bayangi spirit is taken care of, worshipped, given what it wants, because the Bayangi has a favorite food. Which favorite food that the tantric tells, because it depends from spirit to spirit. So, that favorite food has to be given to that spirit every week, and the spirit takes it, it's not seen afterwards. So, as long as all this propitiation is done correctly, the ghost is benevolent to the family. Now, how this happens? This happens because the ghost, what it does, it's an evil, mischievous ghost. It takes the wealth from the other families, surrounding families in the neighborhood. So, those other families become poor. So poor that they might not even have the 2 times meals for the day. But this one family becomes super rich. Now, see, in the villages, this is very common. It's very common to see one family becoming rich, 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 and all the other families in the neighborhood below the poverty line. So, that is what the Bayangi spirit does, and one family becomes rich at the expense of the other families. It doesn't end there. The Bayangi spirit lives in any family for only a period of 7 years. The Tantric says that for 7 years this Bayangi spirit will bless your family. After 7 years you have to release it. You have to break the coconut, because then the Bayangi spirit will leave you so that some other family can be benefited.
And what if they do?
Now, invariably they don't, because by this time, in 7 years, the family is so embroiled in that greed, so much seduced by it, that they don't let the Bayangi go. And the Bayangi spirit, after it is kept beyond 7 years, it becomes vengeful. It becomes remorseless. And then it starts doing the opposite of what it had done all these 7 years. It starts giving the wealth away. The family falls into penury. It causes the death of family members. Accidents begin to happen. Tragedies begin to befall. And this is a very strong legend which is prevalent in the Konkan area, and the families who do this, who practice in the Bayangi craft, will never tell that we are doing this, of course. In fact, the patriarch of the family will also not tell the other members of the family that I have got this Bayangi spirit, because that's always meant to be kept as a secret. So this is one of the stories that I heard of. Then I read more about it, and I was truly fascinated about it, because this story has it's not a story, it's more than a story, it's a legend, it's a part of the culture, folklore. But see what all things it has. It has this very important theme of greed. Like what extent a person can go to satiate their greed. They can even go to fall prey to all these black magic practices at the cost of other families. So there is this social dichotomy that we are talking about. The haves and the have-nots, that divide. We have that. And we have this particular thing where, a patriarch is supposed to take care of the family. So the male member, again we come into that zone where the male member is the most important person who takes the decision whether to bring a Bayangi spirit in the family or not, despite the repercussions of it being felt by every other family member. So this story is quite something, and it tells us a lot about the culture of the place.
So is it easy to catch these spirits or not?
I have never had the experience of seeing the
Such
thing being
practices.
performed, practice being performed. But I'm sure that whenever there is something like this, like whether it's the Yakshini sadhana that I talked to you about in the previous episode, or it is this, the Bayangi spirit, calling the Bayangi spirit, it's never easy. It should not be easy.
It should not. Because if everyone could do it,
Yes.
everyone would have got
Then what's the point?
rich. Huh.
Then what's the point? So that the whole idea of this is to make it so difficult and so mystical, and also to make it look dangerous, so that people do not fall prey to it that easily. So this is a wonderful kind of
Bayangi.
story, and it gives us a kind of an idea of what kind of stories work in India. So this is what fascinates us. It's not only about the supernatural, but it is about the human equation with the supernatural. Most of the Indian stories that you see, they are about deals made by humans with the entities.
Correct.
Or it is about a revenge saga where a human has done something wrong to a ghost,
Other
and the
human,
ghost is taking revenge. Now I'm going to tell you something which is really blood curdling. So prepare yourself. So there is this whole tradition in some parts of central India, even up to Bihar, Jharkhand and all. There is a way to stop a woman from becoming a Dayan. This is the local blind faith. It is a superstition. Hear about it. It gives me chills. So what they do is, if a woman dies especially the bahu of the family, the daughter-in-law, then there is always the danger that she will come back as a Dayan. To prevent that, what the family does, I'm not talking about all, I'm not generalizing in any terms. Those who believe, those families who believe in such kind of thing, the families, they bury the woman, not cremate her. How they bury? They put her upside down. They break her legs of the corpse of the dead body. They take a hammer and they break the legs. They break the arms. And they twist it so that it goes in the other direction, even the legs. They put nails in the eyes of that dead woman. And all of this is done in the belief that this woman, even if she rises, she will not be able to walk. Even if she becomes a Dayan, she will not be able to walk because her legs are broken, her limbs are broken, or she will not be able to see where to go because her eyes are blinded. So this kind of torture is done on the women, not only in their lifetime, but also when they are dead. And this is the actual lore of a Dayan. Now we will not laugh at Dayans, at their bad representation in films, because that is a different thing. But this is what happens. Why this happens? Let us go a little bit deeper. This happens because of the entire, the gender imbalance that we have in our society. And the women who are dead, even those women are still labeled as witches. During their lifetime, the women have always, given that secondary citizen kind of treatment. But even after they are dead, there is no honor for them. There is this kind of dishonor. Plus, they are labeled as chudails and Dayans, and they are brought back into society as the evil person. It shakes you to the core to think about all this. So, this is some of the very dark side of our lore that exists. And that is where the true horror comes from. The true horror does not come from the chudail roaming on the street trying to trap a young man. The true horror comes from what was done to that woman, believing in the lore of the chudail and the Dayan. So that's it. Bengal, we have Shakchunni. If you go to Bengal, there is this legend, a similar legend, Shakchunni. At least that is not so grisly. But a Shakchunni is believed to be a woman who has unfulfilled desires. Typically a virgin, unmarried woman. And if she dies, then she might come back as a Shakchunni. Again, this is stereotyping, this is labeling, because it just tries to show that women are amorous. That is also there in the Western culture. We have the succubus and the incubus, which again have the same kind of sexual connotation to them. So we have a lot of that in India as well. Then in Kashmir there is Rantas, another kind of a female entity. Now the Rantas is supposed to be a variation of the Chudail only. But what is the Rantas? The Rantas is a woman that looks like a hag in her natural form, with pendulous breasts, hair all loose, very very skinny arms and legs. And the Rantas roams on the snowy mountains. There are stories of Rantas around the Dal Lake and those places. So what the Rantas does, she targets men in houseboats. Yeah, because Kashmir, especially the people who are the woodcutters, they do that, coniferous trees. They target men, and when they target men, they come in a very beautiful and seductive, tempting form. And the young man falls in love with the Rantas, blind love. Only he can see the Rantas as a beautiful person. Not only that, he brings the Rantas home and as a married wife. He brings her home, and the Rantas stays in that house as a daughter-in-law every night, sucking the blood of that young man, because that is what keeps her immortal. and that is how the Rantas survives. The young man becomes old sooner because of the blood being sucked out and his energies, his virility leaving him. The young man becomes old, and finally the young man dies, and the Rantas moves on to another man and targets another family. So this is a legend again from Kashmir. Now we did not know. Many people don't know that even Kashmir has horror legends. So this is one from there. Punjab has a similar legend. In Punjab we call the Chudail as the Pichal Peri. Transliteration, a Pichal Peri. Again the concept is the same. A woman who has died in pregnancy or childbirth comes back as a Pichal Peri. And if a Pichal Peri targets a man, then the man is as good as dead. Let's come down further south. Let's come again to Karnataka. In Karnataka, there is this legend of the Chedipe. Chedipe is another kind of a female entity. What is a Chedipe? Do you know that there was this system of the Devdasis sometime back in India? Women married to temples. So it was believed that if a Devdasi died, and if the proper rites were not performed, then the Devdasi would be reincarnated as a Chedipe. A Chedipe is also a witch-like creature, believed to live in the jungles. The Chedipe rides a tiger. So that is the vehicle of the Chedipe, rides a tiger on most occasions. And when she is not riding a tiger, when she is on her own feet, her feet themselves are, not like normal human feet. Like one of the foot is of a tiger. The Chedipe also can be a very beautiful woman, and she also targets young men, comes to the house of the young man, and sucks blood from the toe of the young man, that she has married, thus taking his virility away night after night till he becomes old and dies. And Chedipe moves on to the other woman. Now, what do we see in all this? We see that India's monsters are women. That is our folklore, which is so bad. We are typecasting. This is a kind of a gender divide, a bias, which has been going on in our lore from ages. This is what I learnt in my research. This is why even if I show a female entity in my books, I make her empowered. I make a Yakshini who takes revenge. I do not want to show a witch who has been tormented just because she's a woman, which actually happens.
So, do you see these things happening still in our society?
They are still happening. Even though we say that we have progressed and we have come to this modern age and all, if you go to the remote parts of India, these things are still happening. Maybe not as prevalent as before, because now the governments are very strict about all these things, and there is increased awareness, and social media has made everything very public. So these things can no longer happen secretly. But even then, there are cases on and off. Witch burning, branding women as witches and burning them in India is still happening. It's still happening. There is a shocking number of witch burning happening, but it happens in the very remote areas where numbers are not even registered at the police stations. But it happens. We cannot turn a blind eye to this. It happens, and our lore is somewhere, propagating this. But let us talk some other kind of stuff, of course, this is a problem that needs to be resolved. I think it will take a collective effort and more awareness
from everyone in the society.
And a lot of education.
Education.
That is where we
Lack
are
of education.
lacking. Yes. Let me talk about some other kind of entities that I heard about during my travels and stuff. So there is in the Himachal Pradesh an interesting spirit known as the Acheri. The Acheri. The Acheri spirit is the spirit of a child. Now, Himachal is all this lots of mountains, ravines.
Correct.
So sometimes children, when playing, local children, they fall and die in the ravines. Accidents. I'm talking about accidents.
Hmm.
Those children are reborn as Acheri spirits, and they haunt the Himachal. The people of the mountains are very scared of them, because when an Acheri comes, the Acheri will come with a soft song. So when you hear a song in the darkness of the night without any source, run away from there.
Okay.
So you will hear a soft song, and then the spirit will come to you. And the spirit will look like a child, so you will of course be like, you'll think about it as a child, but then the spirit will try to push you off the mountain. That is what it tries to do. So the Acheri is again a vengeful spirit,
Hmm.
and it takes revenge because it has met with its death. So I find, of course, this is, every horror lore is born out of tragedy.
Hmm.
That you cannot deny. But then you have to see the creativity put behind making that ghost. So I feel, yeah, Acheri, anybody's heart will go out to a child who has
Correct,
died in an
yeah.
accident. Let me take you to Assam now. So in Assam, there is this spirit known as the Bak.
Bark.
So the Bak is again a very interesting spirit. It's a fisherman's ghost. Now, Assam has a lot of water bodies,
Hmm.
and there are a lot of fishermen who go out in their boats, and they fish even in the night.
Hmm.
Some of these fishermen die. Anything happens, the boat accident or something like that, they drop off, they die. If a fisherman dies, it is believed that the fisherman is reborn as a Bak. A Bak is a big spirit, a long, tall spirit, lot of hair. Believed that his eyes are on his stomach. So, and this Bak, there is only one way to save yourself from the Bak. Keep feeding it fish.
Oh.
Keep throwing fish, because it's a fisherman's spirit. So, what the fishermen do, even now in Assam and some parts of even the vicinity, West Bengal and all, when they go fishing, they drop their first few fishes into the sea just like that. And the belief is that they are feeding the Bak. So if you feed the Bak, then the Bak will not come to you the rest of the journey. So yes, India is full of such folklore, such stories. What I have told you has not even skimmed the surface. There are thousands of such entities, creatures, supernatural beings all over India. In every village you will find tens of them.
Apart from villages and remote areas, like, can we still find these entities and creatures in like cities like Mumbai
Oh yes.
and other one tier, two
Oh
tier
yes,
cities?
yes. We are from Mumbai, right?
We are from Mumbai.
So I'll tell you two things from Mumbai. Mumbai has a lot of haunted places, number one. So a lot of haunted places of Mumbai are well known. Like there is this Grand Paradise Towers,
Hmm.
a tower from which somebody had fallen and died long back. I'm not sure of the exact location of it.
I've heard a lot about RA Colony.
The RA Colony. RA Colony is almost a jungle area, right?
Correct.
So in RA Colony, it is believed that there is this, there were umpteen spirits in the RA Colony. Specifically, there is the spirit of a woman
In
that
RA
lurks around in RA Colony. So there is this Mud Marway Road also, which is
Correct.
believed to be haunted.
Oh.
Mud Marway Road is believed, it's in Malad. So there a woman had died long ago, killed during an accident, and her child also.
Okay.
So it was an accident with an auto rickshaw.
Hmm.
So it's believed that she now targets the
Everyone.
people, the motorists
Okay.
who go on that route. So if she will appear as a woman with a child, if you stop, then that's your last stop. So we have this. Apart from that, there is something that had become very famous in India back in the 90s. I don't know if you recall it. There was this one entity known as the Teen Mundi Ki Chudail.
Teen Mundi.
Teen Mundi, three heads.
Hmm.
So this was, I think, 95, 96, okay? And one rumor started spreading that the Mumbai roads are not safe. There is a three-headed witch walking on the roads, and she comes in the evening after 7:30. She comes in the evening, and if she sees anybody, she will target that person and kill them, and then enter in the house of that person also and kill all the family members. This was so much this rumor caught on, and actually there were mysterious deaths that happened in that time. Some houses were just found, the people were found dead in the houses. It caught on to such an extent that people stopped venturing out of the houses after 7:30. Men would come out who worked late, because men were the main targets of the Teen Mundi. They would come back home early. Offices started giving half day
Okay.
because the scare was so this thing. In fact, Teen Mundi also became a part of the popular folklore.
So, when things come to adaptations, like if there are horror films which are written like book, and when they are adapted into screenplays.
Yeah.
So, what's your take on it? Like, what should be the author's space in that zone while adapting, or any writer if they are trying to adapt into a screenplay format? Because kyunki medium, it changes.
Correct.
From book to screenplay, it changes. So
So-
what do you think about it?
For me, like 4 of my books are going to screen.
Ah,
So there is Maya's New Husband, which is being talked about. Yakshini is being adapted. Haunted also has an option, and one story from my book, Ringa Ringa Roses. So these 4 books have been signed on, and I have been a part of the process where the books were taken as the source material and a screenplay was to be made. Now, hence I know how it actually
Huh.
works. Plus, I am also writing 3 web series separately, means not based on my books, original
apart-
stories.
Original stories.
So, looking at this, there is definitely a noticeable difference in the way I write a book and the way I write a screenplay.
Screenplay.
When you write a book, you are at liberty to write it the way you want to.
Correct.
You can tease your reader. You do not need to spoon feed your reader, because the readers are smart. If you actually do over description, then that will fall back
Fall-
on your face,
yeah.
right? So we have to go very intelligently when we are writing a book. Detailing is very important, and at the same time, there's a particular structure to be followed, but it's a very loose structure, because book writers, authors experiment a lot with even the 3-act system.
Correct.
We do that. Whereas when you're writing for a show, a screenplay for a
Screenplay
movie
format,
or a show, there is a template to be followed.
There is a format to be
Because
followed.
there, what you are trying to do is the basic difference between books and adapted work is that books are more of, they require an investment from the reader also to understand it, to enjoy it. Whereas in film, in the film medium, everything is given to you by the director
Correct.
and the people behind it. And it includes the writer, actor, everybody.
Like the whole
Everything
crew.
is given to you. So film taking or film enjoyment is just an input. That's it. You don't have to give it anything to enjoy it.
Correct.
Books, you have to give it time, you have to give it imagination, you have to give it your understanding. That is why even creating these two, for these two mediums, is a different process. It's a challenge and it's a fun challenge. When you are writing for a web series, you have to give the strokes directly, the beats, the scenes. You have to make sure that your viewer is not bored. Everything has to be told through the visual.
Correct.
Means the screen which you see, each and every object on the screen, even a safety pin, is planned and put there.
Correct.
So that entire thing goes into making an adapted work. Whereas in a book, it's not necessary to go that much in detail because the reader is also thinking.
Correct.
So if I am writing a story and I'm telling that this story is happening in a haunted hospital,
Hmm.
that haunted hospital word itself tells you what kind of a place it will
Correct.
be. I don't need to over describe it.
Hmm.
But if I want to show you a haunted hospital on screen, just imagine the work that will go behind it.
Correct.
Both are equally challenging, both are equally fun. A lot of people say that movies that are made from books are not so good.
Hmm.
But then that is because you are not understanding the difference in grammar.
Grammar here. Correct. The medium
when,
changes.
When you write a book, you also expect the reader to invest.
Hmm.
When you write a movie, you do not expect that investment
Hmm.
because you have to give everything. So what happens is, when you are watching a movie,
Hmm.
you are totally watching 100% the director's interpretation of it.
Correct.
But when you are reading a book, even if it is Harry Potter,
Hmm.
50% of the book is built in your own head.
Correct.
So the way I read Harry Potter and the way you read Harry Potter
Is
will be
different.
totally different.
Correct.
But the way I watch a Harry Potter movie and the way you watch
Would
a
be
Harry
the
Potter
same.
movie would be the same.
Correct.
And
Because
that's the-
everything is provided in cinema. Where
Absolutely.
in book, we need to, like the
Yes.
person needs to imagine the
So
audience.
because you are not taking that, you are taking in everything in cinema,
Yeah.
which is provided to you, you may be feeling shortchanged.
Yeah, if-
because there is no scope for your mind to go beyond what is on screen
Correct.
and think.
Correct.
In a book, there is a lot of scope for you to just close the pages and think about a scene for a
Correct.
moment.
Yeah.
It
Like
builds in your head.
for me, if I read Chudail in the book, my imagination will go very different.
Yes.
Whereas on the other part, if I watch it on the screen, banaya Chudail I can see.
Yes. You can even see the actor. You can even see the face. Everything is finalized.
But now, if I hear in the book Chudail or Diane, the first thing will come be crooked
Absolutely.
legs, things
Yes.
you said like eyes ka,
Now-
hands ka.
When Yakshini was to be made into film on screen, the big challenge for me was in writing the screen treatment of it. The way I have written Yakshini and the way the reader has seen my Yakshini may be different.
Maybe different.
Even though I am the creator of Yakshini, the way every reader of mine read Yakshini was different. So how do I write a screen treatment and a visual treatment for Yakshini that matches all those interpretations?
Correct.
Definitely somebody is going to feel shortchanged and left out.
Correct.
So that's the answer to the question.
Thank you so much. And last question, what would be the books you would suggest to our viewers? Like if someone wants to watch, like levels ka, if
Hmm.
beginner
Yes.
beach ka and extreme level horror, what?
I'm always happy to recommend books.
Please.
So I'll recommend books from, I'm not saying country, region or anything. I'm just recommending across the spectrum, and these are books that I have read, enjoyed. So I would always say that the one go-to book for horror is The Shining by Stephen King,
It's the same book which is adapted.
which is
in
adapted into Stanley Kubrick's
Stanley
movie.
Kubrick's movie.
So The Shining is a spectacular book. It covers everything that horror needs to have.
Shining, a film is also.
Yeah, as a film also it stands on its own, though Stanley Kubrick and Stephen King did not see eye to eye on the adaptation, which usually happens. Another of Stephen King's books which I will strongly recommend is It,
Same.
also made in a movie many times. So these two are wonderful, fantastic books. If you have the gumption for it, then there is the story by Stephen King again, Pet Cemetery, which is quite a sad story, but it is a masterpiece of horror. Among the classics, I really love Frankenstein. I love Frankenstein because Frankenstein is the story of a human trying to challenge the boundaries of nature and going wrong, as it usually happens. So it's a metaphor for everything that we are doing. We are tampering with the forces of nature,
Correct.
and finally it's falling on our face.
Ah.
Whether it is climate crisis, whether it is the forest dwindling of forest, everything. It stems somewhere from Frankenstein
Correct.
as the theme for it.
Hmm.
So that is one. Then there are those all the classics that I always enjoy. The Haunting of Hill House.
Sounding of the Hill House.
Yes, so that is one thing. The show which was made on it was a very different story, but the book is very different also. If you look at our Indian writers now, let us look at our Indian writers. Then of course there is Neil De Silva. Goes without saying.
Of course, without saying, sir.
If you are ever starting with my books, then if you want mild horror, then start with Yakshini. If you have the stomach for grotesque horror, then go for Maya's New Husband. If you enjoy paranormal horror, then there is Haunted and the Spirits Talk to Me. मेरी दुकान में सब कुछ है. Apart from, many of my colleagues write wonderful books. So I can name a few of them. There is Ajinkya Bhasme, who has written a couple of very good books, which are also going to screen. You can just Google him because his books are they are also about mental illnesses and mental conditions, interspersed in horror. Fantastic reads, all of them. There are certain books by Siddharth Nirvan. Do check them out. His books are The Dead Never Die. That's the title of one of his books.
Amazing name.
And Dead People's Town. Good books. Fun books. Fun horror. It's
Oh,
the
fun
fun
horror.
horror. There is a new book by a new author, Chandrima Das, called as Young Blood, which is horror stories set in colleges.
Oh.
The different colleges of India, and there are horror stories in that. Interesting.
Interesting plot. Very interesting plot.
My friend, all of these are my friends. We are a small community. Richa Mukherjee Sharma has come out with a book, The Curse of Kuldhara.
Oh.
So again, an interesting read. It promises to be an interesting read. Basically, just follow my timeline on social media, because what I also do is I recommend a lot of books. So,
Do follow Neil De Silva on Instagram, Facebook, on whichever social media you are. And on that note, I would like to end this episode. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on this panel, talking to us, giving us insight on the various, showing us lights on the various things of horror which I never knew, and I'm
Thank
pretty
you.
sure most of the audience will get those lights and insights which you had showered on us.
I hope that horror gets more respectability as a genre in India, because horror is looked upon as a taboo, as something to be swept under the carpet. I hope that changes after
I hope so,
podcasts
I
such
hope
as
so.
these. So thank you to the entire team of The Haunted Show.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on this episode. Please like, share, comment, subscribe on our YouTube channel so that we can come up with more scary and haunted episodes like this. Stay tuned. Thank you.